what kind of help does Moses want? What kind of help does he need? And what kind of disciples is Jesus hoping for? I think perhaps the kind of help that Moses is looking for, the kind of disciples that Jesus is hoping for, are those known for their actions and their Christ-centered lives, more so than their religious opinion. The story that we hear about Moses in Numbers 11 this morning is an echo of an earlier story in Exodus 18. In Exodus, Moses meets his father-in-law, Jethro, who sees Moses sitting as judge over the people. People bring their comments and concerns and complaints and their disputes to Moses, who adjudicates them. Jethro notices how much time Moses is spending as a sort of conflict mediator, operating as judge over the people, because he's the only lawgiver, the only judge among them. Jethro says, you're going to wear your people out, you're going to wear yourself out. And that does no one any good. Appoint a few judges to take on the lesser cases, and your people and you won't be in so much danger. And so Moses appoints a number of lesser officers to take on these many, many cases that are being brought forward so that he doesn't burn out. This story is told in organizing circles to encourage people to go out and get other people involved, because we can't do this important work, we can't do this ministry alone. It doesn't do our cause or our people or ourselves any good. And so we get here to Numbers 11, and the people of Israel are speaking out. They don't have enough meat to eat. All they have is this manna to look at. And so they complain to Moses, and Moses complains to God. God says, in a part omitted from our reading, that the people will have meat coming out of their ears if they so desire it, and I will send all that they want upon them. But Moses has a deeper complaint here, doesn't he? If I found favor in your sight, then put me to death, because I'm burned out and I'm done with adjudicating for this people. But if Moses had all of these judges helping him out, then why is he so burned out by numbers? I think it's because of the kind of help he's given. See, judges are valued for their adjudication, for their ability to judge, for their judgments, for their opinions. Whereas the new people, the new elders that are being brought on, this new group of people that has the Spirit poured out upon them, are valued for their ability, for their talent, for the Spirit dwelling within them, for their ability to prophesy. This is a labor in which no one has shared with Moses before. Prophecy is the ability, the power, to speak on behalf of the people to God, and then speak on behalf of God back to the people. To be that mediator. Whereas before, Moses only had judges, people of a religious opinion, who knew the law and then could apply it in given situations to the betterment of the people. Now Moses has prophets to share in the Spirit with them, and in consequence to govern the people. Call it a democratization of the Spirit. Call it Pentecost, when God poured out his Spirit upon all of the disciples, and from them onto a world. See, we tend to mark our Christianity by our opinions, by what we consume. You're Christian if you listen to Christian songs, and you go to Christian places and do Christian things. You're a Christian, you're an Episcopalian if you have the correct opinions about what happens in choir, or the attitude of the people in the pews. Or if you know the name of everything on this altar and know better than the priest what should happen up here. We know a whole lot about our faith. And we have so many opinions about what ought to happen. But that's not always the kind of help the world needs. Our religious opinions go very far. The music of the choir is powerful. The attitude in the pews determines so much. And what happens at this altar can save each and every one of us in the presence of God. But that's not the kind of help that Moses needs. And it's not the kind of disciple only that Jesus is looking for. Jesus is looking for the disciples that appear not only among the 12, but out in different and new places. He's looking for Eldad and Medad, prophesying in the camp, not only in the tent. They're looking for disciples who are out there exorcising demons, that are looking for the things that pull people down and pull people back and helping them get out from under them. They're looking for the helpers in the event of natural disasters. And they're looking for people who stand against the war and violence of human-made disaster. Jesus is not only looking for people who have the right opinions at the right time. Jesus is hoping for people who can take those opinions and put them into action for a world in need. We tend to mark our Christianity by what we consume, by what we're involved in, by the opinions that we have, by the knowledge that we've accumulated when it comes to the church. But Jesus is marking the Christianity by prayer and fasting and exorcising demons and keeping distance from sin. You need all that business about hands and feet and eyes and cutting them out and tearing them up. It's about your approach to sin. If you have your hands in sinful things, then Jesus is saying you need to get back. You need to take your hands out of that and get more distance. If your foot causes you to stumble, if you find yourself compelled to walk towards sin, you need to cut that out. And if you are your eyes looking at sin, you need to back away from that. Look elsewhere. He's talking about a world in which we're getting more and more distance from what holds us down and holds us back. And he's looking for disciples who can exorcise those demons, whether they're part of the original 12 or not. Because none of us was part of the 12. And he's looking for disciples among us. What kind of help does Moses need? What kind of disciples is Jesus hoping for? Moses is looking for you. Jesus is hoping for you.